Well, hey there, it's time to stand up and get going. So we're officially on state 2 of this 27-state adventure. We wandered up the coastline of Georgia and we have arrived at Jekyll Island and Driftwood Beach.
Well, hey you. So, we're on Jekyll Island in Georgia. And I didn't know anything about this place. It seemed like it was going to be interesting. I was like, yeah, let's go do that. I was after the driftwood because the driftwood pictures looked pretty cool, so I wanted to see if I could get some of those. However, I get out here and I'm like, it's not quite what I pictured. So I looked this up. I asked ChatGPT what the history of Jekyll Island in Georgia is about. And definitely not what I expected. So, indigenous roots, pre-1500s, originally inhabited by the Guale people, hopefully I'm saying that right, a Native American tribe who lived along the Georgia coast. They had well-established villages and fishing practices long before European contact. And then the Spanish and French came along in the 1500s and 1700s. Spanish in the 1500s, Spanish missionaries and settlers arrived, establishing missions in the area. French pirates and explorers occasionally raided or passed through. The island was named the Isle of St. Osyth, O-S-Y-T-H, Osyth. Is what hopefully that's how they said it, by English colonists before being renamed. I like the new name. British colonial era, 1700s. In 1733, General James Oglethorpe, founder of the Georgia colony, renamed the island Jekyll Island after Sir Joseph Jekyll, a financial backer of the colony. British settlers used the island primarily for agriculture, particularly rice and cotton, using enslaved African labor, because of course they did. Plantation era, 1790s to 1860s, wealthy families owned large plantations worked by enslaved Africans. This was the island's most active period of antebellum agriculture. After the Civil War, the plantation system collapsed and the island became less economically significant. The Gilded Age. Apparently we're supposed to be going through one of those right now. How's that working for everybody? The Gilded Age, 1886, 1947, it became an elite retreat. In 1886, the Jekyll Island Club was formed by wealthy northern industrialists, including members of the Rockefeller, Morgan, and Vanderbilt families. This island became an exclusive winter retreat and the richest, most inaccessible club in the world. In 1910, a secret meeting at the Jekyll Island Club, this is interesting, led to the draft of what would become the Federal Reserve Act. It happened here. State ownership and public access, 1947 to present. In 1947, the state of Georgia purchased the island for $675,000 and opened it to the public. It was established as a state park with the goal of being a retreat for all Georgians. Today, the Jekyll Island Authority, a self-sustaining state agency, manages the island. And they get into historic preservation and tourism. So much of the island has been restored and is a national historic landmark. Sea turtles, bike trails, environmental conservation, strict development regulations help preserve 65% of the island in a natural or undeveloped state. Fun fact or not so fun fact, the Federal Reserve was born here in 1910. A clandestine meeting of bankers and politicians on the island shaped the foundations of modern U.S. banking system. All right, so we're gonna go explore this a little bit, see if we can find some turtles. And that's interesting. It's a little blustery, 88 degrees, which is better than the 97, and it's cooler, feel so much better. I tell you what, St. Augustine, that was so hot. That was hot. Oh, and we got people behind us. So we're gonna go wander around here. And Little's having a good time. All right, we're gonna go wander around this. This is actually a pretty good sized island. And so far driving in, which caught my curiosity and why I was like, what is the history out here? There are some big houses out here. Like, these things are massive. And then I pulled up to the resort over here and I'm like, what on earth is all of this? Some fancy dancy stuff going on around here. So I'm gonna kind of just wander around a little bit, I guess. I don't know exactly where they let you wander. Welcome. Please pull forward. Loading and unloading for registered guests. Parking prohibited. Oh, wow, interesting.
This is Villa Ospo. Walter Jennings, a former Standard Oil director, built Villa Ospo as a winter getaway for his family in 1927. Walter and his wife Jean were very involved with the Jekyll Island Club and often greeted newcomers and visitors to the island, turning Villa Ospo into a center of hospitality for the elite. Villa Ospo was designed by John Russell Pope, architect of the Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C. This roaring 20s cottage is one of the most modern structures in the island's National Historic Landmark District. The building has 10 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and a magnificent great room. The grounds include an alley lined with cypress trees and a secret garden with a lily pond. This is the Horton House. William Horton came to Georgia in 1736. He built this building for his plantation residence, and it was his home until his death in 1749. Major Horton succeeded Oglethorpe as commander of the regiment of British troops stationed here. It is said that he shined in war and in peace, in public and in private stations. Former plantation owner. Tabby was a logical choice for Horton's new home, as it was a great deal sturdier than wood and included material that was widely available on Jekyll Island, oyster shell. Tabby is created by mixing oyster shells with sand, water, and lime, and was widely used in the coastal communities of South Carolina, Georgia, and northern Florida. The new Tabby home featured chimneys on either end, 2 rooms on the first floor, and 2 bedrooms on the second floor. There was also a lovely balcony off of the back of the home. From this balcony, William and Rebecca were likely to be able to view their flourishing homestead that included a fine kitchen garden, barns, malt house, brew house, and overseer's home. Remember, this building is about 250 years old.
It's been an interesting morning. Still out on. We're still out on Jekyll Island, and we camped the north end of Jekyll Island, and I think I can go through here. It seems that way. They're doing some tree falling, some trimming in the area. I'm gonna get out of here before they do anything else. Great campsite. This is awesome. It really is. I would definitely do this again. Bring bug spray. Great facilities. It's a big campsite. It has guest laundry room, showers. Like, it's nice. A little store. Yeah, great location right on the north end. We were hoping to kind of get up and moving a little bit faster so that we could get out onto Driftwood Beach. A little mucked up right now, honestly. And Little was being so freaking cute. She, I long lead her tie off to the back of the Forerunner so she doesn't wander off too far or get excited about a dog coming around or whatnot. She's a little dog reactive and squirrel reactive. She's high prey drive when it comes to little things that run. And she was so cute. She got up, I got her breakfast, and then she went over and I had the door open for her little seat. And she came over and she volunteered to just kind of sit up there and hang out. And just adorable. And I'm kind of doing my thing and getting things packed up and everything. And she takes off after a squirrel and came out of that seat and with the long line on, and she yanked on her neck pretty hard. She is up and moving, but I'm going to take her in and we're gonna kind of test this out. I'm not sure if we're actually gonna do this or not. I just want to see how she's walking, and we're just gonna take this really slow. I have a bit of a drive before I'm anywhere kind of substantial. I think I'm gonna have some x-rays done of her neck today. This has scared the hell out of me, and I need to know that she's okay. So I'm gonna take a break here for a second. You're up, you're moving. How are you? Doing okay? Mom's a bit concerned. I am a bit concerned.
Yeah. Now be careful with yourself. Your mama loves you. Sweet girl. What do you think? Go walk around some more? Yeah. What do you think, hun? Getting bugs. So welcome to Driftwood Beach. Driftwood Beach is located on the northern end of Jekyll Island, and it's part of Georgia's barrier island chain called the Golden Isles of Georgia. It's found along North Beachview Drive between the Clam Creek picnic area and other northern beach access points. This beach is unique because the shoreline is dotted with large weather-worn trees and roots, the remnants of a once maritime forest that has been overtaken by erosion and salt water. This gives it a driftwood look to it, though many of these trees were originally rooted in place and gradually collapsed rather than simply washing ashore. Another interesting aspect of this beach, because I haven't come across it very much in the United States, is it has these clay balls in some instances. But when I did the research on it, I realized actually what it was is it's a wearing away. So the clay balls that, and you'll see me kind of stick my finger in one of them, to see what it was, because it didn't seem like it was hard. It seemed like if I stepped on it, I'd probably end up slipping on it. So I was just kind of checking to see what the texture of it actually was. And it's indeed like pottery clay. Like you could make a pot out of this stuff. That's the texture of it. And where that comes from is the geology of the Georgia coast and the barrier islands, including Jekyll Island, sit partly on the older Pleistocene shoreline deposits and marsh sediments, and this is the erosion of the sediments that sit on top of that layer, and so it exposes this with time. On Jekyll Island in particular, you'll find such clay deposits being eroded due to sea level rise, wave action, and marsh retreat. This really is a very special beach. I don't think you'd ever get tired of coming out here and watching the different ways that the sun and water and the clouds all play with each other. It's really quite spectacular and definitely worth the trip. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed Jekyll Island as much as we did. The Driftwoods, weren't those cool? Next adventure, we're on the road again. We're heading up to Savannah, Georgia.